Storyline has a hidden classroom, one that is often overlooked. Instead of struggling with documentation or starting from scratch, what if you could learn faster just by exploring existing projects? Inside every Storyline project, there are hidden lessons, techniques, workflows, and tricks just waiting to be explored. Today, I'll show you exactly how to find and explore projects so you can level up your skills the smart way. Okay, so for our first example, we're going to start with something simple. In Storyline, just click on New Slide and then click on Content Library. This way, for this first example, we won't have to leave Storyline. We're just staying in the application and then we're searching for the velocity template because the velocity template is the only one available in the free trial. And here in the velocity template, I want to look at an interaction. So I'm going to click interactions and then I will choose the tabs layout or the tabs template and insert it into my slide. And now if we double click on the slide and do a preview of this slide, we can see that we have 5 lessons, and when you click on one of the lessons, title for the lesson or the titles for the lessons show up, and then you can go through the lessons, and it's a simple tab interaction. And let's close this preview and see how this was built. So the first thing that I would recommend is looking at the slide elements in the timeline. If you just click here, you will see what is on your slide. And here we have the tabs. And when I click through the tabs, you can also see that there are triggers associated to each of these tabs. That's all that is on the slide. We have the triggers that tell us that a layer will be shown when the user clicks on, for example, this tab, and the layers here in the slide layers look like this. And as you can see in the elements of the layers, every layer has all the 5 tabs so that you are able to switch the tabs even if you're on a layer. Okay, so one thing that we could also look at is once we have looked at the slide elements and the triggers and the layers are the states. So example, on the base layer, let's click on lesson 1 and then click on states, and then you can see that we have a normal state and a hover state. And let's look at this on the tab 1. Look at the timeline and then choose, I don't know, lesson 2 maybe. It has the same state, and lesson 1 has a normal state that is a bit different because this will be sort of like a selected state so that we see that we are right now in lesson 1. Let's look at another example, and for this example we're going to look at the community. So type into your browser community.articulate.com or just search for e-learning heroes, click on the Discover tab, and here you can also filter for Storyline 360 projects. And now you will see examples that include a downloadable file. And you can go through here and look at the different examples. One example that I found here is the Meet the Team example, and it's by Monse. And here is the example, and we're going to download it. And while this is downloading, just a quick peek at the website of Monse that I would also recommend to you. It's elearningdesigner.com, and here you have a lot of great resources, great example projects that are all available for you to download. And it's a great way to learn and inspect these projects. So the download has completed relatively quickly, so let's look at this right now. Okay, so Storyline has opened up, but we are getting a notification about missing fonts. If there are fonts missing, you can install them on your PC, but right now, for our purpose, we won't really need this. font because Storyline will pick another font, and yeah, the text will be visible, so just click on OK. And now we can look at this slide. Let's do a preview. So now we can choose a username, and then we can click through this and we see this little indicator up here, and we see that the content up here changes. So let's look at how this was set up. First thing to notice is that right here in the timeline you can't click on anything and nothing happens, and this is because these elements are locked. So you can unlock all of them by clicking the lock icon right here. Now we can go through what is on the base layer, and it's this text, it's this character, and then there are the grouped elements right here, and this consists of text and more text and an oval shape. And then let's look at the layers. The layers include more content, and then all of the triggers are on the base layer. And for example, for here this group user 1, we have two triggers. The first trigger is to show the layer 01 when the user clicks user 01, and the second one is the set the indicator to 01 when the user clicks 01. And the indicator is actually right down here in the timeline of the base layer, and it's this little triangle that I've talked about. And I want to find out how this indicator moves, because the indicator isn't part of the layers, but it's only part of the base layer. So let's click on the layer and then switch to states. And in the state we can see that there are the normal state and 5 other states, and if I hover over them you can see that it moves. And this is just because inside of the states, this triangle, excuse me, I have to click on the second one, and you can see that inside of the states this has been moved. And you could do the same thing. If you add more states, you can move the object. So this is how this was done. And I hope that by now exploring and inspecting these projects changes the way you think a bit, because you might be thinking, can I do this in Storyline? But the more you inspect and explore existing projects, the more you start to ask, how was this accomplished? And this is an important shift in my opinion, because it opens up possibilities you might never discover on your own, and you begin to see Storyline more as a toolkit of possibilities rather than a program that has limitations. Okay, so let's look at our third example. I may have forgot to mention that I will be sharing all the links to all the projects that I'm showing. Let's switch to the third example. Dan Graham has created a great project that is all about 5 questions on tigers, and it's there's a lot going on. So let's download this. We can look at it. And here we get another notification that says that this was built in a previous version of Storyline. Yeah, we can just upgrade it to Storyline 360. It's still a great resource to learn, so don't worry about it. Thanks to Dan for creating this and sharing this with us. Yeah, let's do a preview of the entire project. And you can see that this project also includes sound, so let's turn this off so that you can hear me talk. Okay, so let's click on play. Here we have questions and possible answers. So I'm going to choose 1000, and then you can see that there's some scratching going on, and then we get the indication that this in fact was not correct. So let's pick 88, and this was correct, and I get congratulations, and then I can switch to the next question. And then another thing that I want to show you is this menu down here, because not only can I click on the next question, but I can also click on this menu down here to switch between the questions. So I can just open up the 4th question or the 5th, and together with you I want to look how this was set up. So let's look at one of these question slides. And here you can see that there's a lot going on. We have many triggers and we have some slide elements. And if we try to click on the menu, we see that we can't get to it. And we also see that in the timeline there's nothing locked. Yeah, we can look at the other slide layers, but it's the same here and here. So nothing is happening when I click on the menu items. And this is a strong indicator for these elements being part of the slide master. So let's click on the View tab and then click on Slide Master. And then here on the layout questions that is used by the 5 question slides, we have the elements of the menu. And yeah, this is just another place to look when you're exploring projects or when you're inspecting projects. And here it's the same. We have elements that are on our slides, we have layers, and we also have triggers. And I have marked this third menu element, and we can see that it has a trigger that says jump to slide Q3 when the user clicks 3. So this is how this was set up. I have a bonus challenge for you. So if we preview this slide right here, can you figure out how the tiger scratch or this how this scratch animation right here or right here or right here, how does this appear? And if you do, let me know in the comments by typing tiger skill unlocked. I'm really curious to see if you can figure this out. I think it's a bit advanced, but I think you can do it. I hope that from now on you see every storyline project you encounter as a classroom waiting to be explored. And if this was helpful to you, please let me know in the comments or with a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my content, please consider subscribing. I will try to put out more helpful content. Thank you for watching. Bye.